Are you recording?
Yeah. So I gave you a thumbs
New
up.
intro.
It's just like,
Christina's gone for a while. We said it in the last one. If you skipped it, go back and watch it, and then come back and watch this one. But
Yeah, give us the views, you fuckhead.
separate videos
dick.
for separate topics.
You asshole.
That means more clicks, but it means if you don't want to watch something, you can skip it, but you should watch it anyway. And don't forget to comment, Lexi used the rocket. Right.
Lexi, use the rocket.
So, you guys have heard me talk about like being super excited for Guilty Gear, the new edition Strive, which came out at the start of June. I've yet to pick it up because I'm poor. I'm not working right now, but hopefully I will be working again soon. And then Brayden's brother and I are going to hang out a fuck ton and play Guilty Gear with or without Brayden.
Brayden looks so sad.
I'm probably not going to be there.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I have no car, so they're just going to leave me in the dust, literally.
Bailey doesn't have a car either.
He does.
Bailey drives?
He drives. My entire family drives except for me.
That's so embarrassing. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll open that box up later.
Look forward to our future Dialog Trees episode where we teach Brayden how to drive.
Oh my god.
It'll be like the Dragon Ball Z episode where they teach Goku and Piccolo how to drive.
So anyway, with Strive coming out, there was a little bit of controversy because some of the like mainstay mechanics of the series have changed. And that got me thinking about series, like iterations of a series where they change major mechanics, either for the positive or for the negative. And so, for example, Kingdom Hearts 1. We all thought it was a good game. You know, it's not the best. Ask anybody their favorite Kingdom Hearts, they're going to say 2, because 2 was the fucking bomb. And you know part of what made 2 the bomb? The fucking forms. You had like strength form, wisdom form, final form, master form. Like those were fucking sweet. Complete game changers. Best combat. And then like 10 years later and a bunch of side series games, which are actually more than side series games, but we're not getting into this again. Kingdom Hearts 3 just completely changes the feel of combat, and in my opinion, I didn't enjoy it as much as 2. And I get they have to try and innovate, but at some point, innovation doesn't always mean progress. And so I thought Kingdom Hearts, other fighting games. I had one more example I'm just going to pull up.
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, okay, the addition of the second wrist blade and more happening in Assassin's Creed 2, fucking awesome.
Oh, so we're going to talk about like the RPG elements added later.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Like, Origins, people loved it, but they took away the blade, and then it was a big thing. Ooh, we gave you the hidden blade back in Valhalla, and, like, cool, but you still chose to take it away, and then it didn't work. And I'm wondering if you guys have, like, some of your own opinions on changes that worked or didn't. Right, my last one was Mass Effect, topical because of the Legendary Edition. In number 1, I've personally never played, but everybody I've ever heard talk about it says the planet exploration with the Mako is horseshit. So much so that they did the Legendary Edition, they had to redo it. Yeah. Because of quality of life changes. So in 2, they fixed it, and it was great. And when they said, oh, let's put out the collection remastered, they knew people would lose their shit if they had to go back to that level.
Okay, hang on. You're saying that 2 they fixed it, which you don't seem to be getting across fully. In 2 they fixed the planet exploration by removing it entirely. There was a day they added a vehicle mission as DLC, but it wasn't part of the main game.
I'm not a fan of BioWare.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, you're like, in the 2 they brought up the level.
They stepped their game up by removing it.
Hey, that's
the game was better for it.
Positive change by removal. Yeah. You know, so like streamlining. And one more example, because what would I be if I didn't say it? Smash Bros. Removing wave dashing.
Mm.
There's a reason we all love Melee still. It's because it's the best fucking Smash Bros. Game because it's so freeform. Brawl was shit. Who trips? Who the fuck trips? Not Meta Knight. Melee.
You don't know. He's got those floppy little feet.
Yeah.
It's because of Meta Knight's huge cock. He just trips over that third rack of meat.
Only Kirby has a huge cock, and I have the photo to prove it.
Brayden,
we'll
don't
put that
test
on
him.
the
Don't test him.
Link in the description.
No.
I guess in terms of franchises that I've been taking a lot of time with recently is I've recently been getting super into Monster Hunter, which I have learned has not iterated much in over 10 years or so. The weapon categories that are available in the newest release, Monster Hunter Rise, are the same ones that were in the 3DS editions that were being tested out in the PSP versions. This is a series that likes to, almost like Pokemon, it has a core roster of mechanics, and then with each new game they're playing around with either expanding the roster or throwing in new play ways to like toy around with the central mechanics. And I've been really digging it. I right now have World, which is their big console release from 2017. That sounds right.
Yeah.
So I have World and I have Rise on my Switch, and I've been going back and playing between the two, and the difference in design philosophy in them is actually really cool. World is this huge sprawling map. Your character focus is super zoomed in. You feel like you're a small individual running around this massive sandbox, and the fights with monsters can be not hard but grueling because of your lack of mobility, how slow you are, the ways you have to prepare for the fight. Monster Hunter Rise, you are zipping around the place like crazy. You are freestyling all over the monsters because you have these little wire bugs that zip you around and such. And the maps feel sort of small as a result because you can cross ground so quickly. And it's a different feeling. But they both offer their own unique experiences, and I've been able to really enjoy that. I haven't gotten to World's endgame. Rise's endgame is a little lacking right now, but it always comes back to like the comparing iterations of a series in their final state versus the previous ones. Because now it's not a question of is the game finished at launch, it's what state does the game look like 3 years after. Can be a completely different story. World, as I understand it, did not have a great in-game either. But then it got updates. But then it got Iceborne, which is the whole DLC that adds in the master rank quests. And it's like basically a whole other game to play on top of Monster Hunter. And I'm wondering when Rise will get that, and if that will be the point at which my opinion changes yet again. But it's interesting. I'm a fan of the Monster Hunter series, but I still have yet to dive into its deep lore and such. So I would say overall, like, it's fun to compare the positive iterations when they're made with, a clear intent. Like, I can't point to a single thing where it was like, oh, I don't understand why this feature was in. It's because they're striving for these different experiences. Yeah, I'm a big fan of those.
Aaron?
A quick one. Assassin's Creed 4. Adding in the pirate ship stuff. That was fun as fuck. That was good.
Yeah. Well, you could see them toying around with it as early as like 3. Assassin's Creed 3. Even Brotherhood, I think you could point to like them toying around with different ways because they had like the cannon defense missions.
Probably, I don't know. I didn't play much of Brotherhood.
That's fair.
I'm surprised they never made like a standalone pirate series.
Right?
They're supposed. They've tried to. I think that's what Skull and Bones is supposed to be.
What is
Skull and Bones? Is a Ubisoft game that has been in development since like just ages, and it's supposed to be based off of basically Black Sails. It was first revealed in 2017.
It's only 4 years. That's not bad.
It's honestly like I'm not this is a little bit of a tangent, but I'm okay with games taking a long fucking time to come out. Like I would rather a game, you know, the Shigeru Miyamoto idea of a broken game. You know, back in the day, a broken game launches broken, but if you take the time, like it's a good game. Now things have changed with DLC and updates and whatnot, but you know, Cyberpunk 2077 will always have that black mark on it, no matter what updates come out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember watching the release teaser for Final Fantasy VII Remake in high school. As a teenager, I was late for a basketball game because I was watching it, and yeah.
And you still haven't finished it, and you still haven't played it. Have you even taken it out of the box?
Well, I got it for free as a download.
Oh yeah, he deleted it off his PlayStation.
Yes, but also Brayden lent me his copy late last year. Late 2020 in the fall.
You're a bad person.
And also, I stole Aaron's copy of Call of Cthulhu like a month ago, and that hasn't been put into a PlayStation yet.
Listen, motherfucker, if somebody lends you a game, I want to see that shit popped in as soon as you get home. Like, I want to see your face up next to this title of now playing this.
I would like Aaron to comment on how long it took me to watch Batman, the animated series.
I had to steal back my Batman from him because he refused to give it back.
So I didn't play it or watch it.
Jesus
I never
Christ.
finished Arkham Asylum because of you, Aaron.
Good. You don't deserve to finish it.
Yeah, you don't deserve it. All right.
So, I do have another example of a test that, like a change in gameplay mechanics that was tested. It was unique, and then it dropped because the series changed. And I know I'm gonna get shit on, but Call of Duty, you know, as a yearly release, they have to do something different every time. And I remember Advanced Warfare. The big thing was, you can like wall run, and the mobility was a thing, and it was very Titanfall-esque. And people kind of hated it because it felt so different than what Call of Duty had been. But there's still people who want to play that kind of game where you have open mobility and shooting like that. And there are other games that now have that, and we're able to grow from that experience. But Call of Duty gave up on that because it didn't fit their core demographic. So they, you know...
They still use that for a couple games after it.
Yeah. Like, I don't think change is inherently bad. And I don't think change not being accepted is inherently bad, because it can still influence other people. But, you know, there's also times when just the change coming in, just for that one time, is enough freshness to break up the monotony of a cycle and then go back. To this day, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask stands out as a fan favorite because it's a unique Zelda entry. There's no other entry like it. And people will still go back and play that game because of it. And people still, to this day, say, hey, like, why can't, for the 35th anniversary, why can't they release, like, Majora's Mask in a collection on Switch or something? People still want that game, you know, 20 years after, because of that thing, even though it's never been seen again, and even though it was so different at the time and almost hated at the time. So I think that, you know, distance from the initial release softens tempers. Because when you pick up a game for the first time and it's different, you hate it. But then as you go back and look at it, you're like, oh, that's not so bad. It is a good thing. But Dark Souls 2 will always be awful.
Well, see, that's what I wonder about in terms of this context, because when I think back to our subject, but from before E3, and the idea of things being too similar, Elden Ring comes to mind, because a lot of people had a criticism, not just an observation, just a criticism of the released Elden Ring stuff by saying it looks too much like Dark Souls. And it's a question of, like, you know, if this is a formula that works, and we agree that it works, how much change do we want? But at the same time, how many times can you do the same thing over and over again and not be, you know, and not be stale? Miyazaki and the boys sharpening out those good Moonlight Greatswords, sunlighting with the bros. They're not playing alone in the sandbox anymore. There's a whole whackload of great games that are now labeled Souls-like in that interim. So, like, if you can just do Dark Souls again, is it going to have the same impact, especially when you stake so much of your studio on this project? Like, I think Elden Ring is going to be huge for FromSoft, bigger than the launch of the original Dark Souls, or bigger than Sekiro, because for a lot of people, they're looking at this as, this is the point at which we decide if FromSoft can continue past this great trilogy or this great series.
So I think that bringing up Elden Ring is a perfect example that had slipped my mind. I know you guys will disagree with this sentiment, and I do as well, but I know many people who hate Sekiro because they're like, I want to be able to choose my class. I want to be able to build my build how I want and play the game how I want and, like, do this. I don't want a linear story. I want to choose what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, so you just want Dark Souls 4. And so now it's like people just want Dark Souls 4, but then they see the trailer and they're like, oh, this is just Dark Souls 4. And it's like, yeah, I said you want it. So I'm sure that I know you guys love Sekiro. I know both of you said it's your favorite Souls game.
Hell yeah.
It's not my favorite Souls game. It's my favorite FromSoft game.
I guess it's not really Souls game, is it? But, like, that's the thing, is I am sure, like, it was a great, I think Sekiro is wonderful. It's different. It doesn't need to be a Souls-like. It's a hard action RPG. Perfect. It's not a Souls-like, though. And I think Elden Ring will be different, but they wanted to walk that line of showing people that they're going back, while also having the hints to the their new
shit,
world or philosophy.
Yeah.
And I think that's, it's yet to be seen. It's hard to say based off just trailers or just trailer. But on that note, because you guys have both finished, Aaron, have you finished Sekiro?
Yep. Like platinum the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you like speedrun it, don't you?
Yeah, I would speedrun like New Game Plus just because I got very good at it. I would run past half the bosses.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine doing that shit on a fresh save.
Yeah, fuck that.
The game, so I want to know your guys' opinions. Aaron being somebody who delved a lot into it, Brayden being somebody who I know killed Ishin the Sword Saint without dying. What are your opinions on the changes from classic FromSoft formula to Sekiro?
So, mine's gonna be like a broader opinion of it, like not just for Sekiro, for like all games. I think like the problem with innovation is like you said with Call of Duty, you go from like just regular running gun to now you're running on walls. Everyone hates it. But if you release a separate game, like, I don't know, Call of Brayden. Yeah, that's the first thing I can think of. Yeah, Booty Calls in the Night. And now you're running on walls and everyone's like, holy fuck, this is fantastic. Where's this game been my whole life? I think that's the same thing with Sekiro. I think, like, I don't know, at least for me, it like kind of felt like, the like side development game to like Dark Souls. You know, it wasn't like their next like big thing. So, you know, I was way more open to it, and I played it like, holy fuck, this is amazing. And I think with Elden Ring, that feels like their next like after Dark Souls game, even though it's not. But you know,
it definitely has a lot more, I think, riding on it for people for them to show off. They're not just a one-trick pony.
So now it feels like they have to somewhat be similar to Dark Souls, even though I feel like it won't be. But
yeah, I could fucking rant about this for hours, so you'll have to cut me off. But I think Sekiro is a great way to take the ideas that worked from Dark Souls, the structure, the boss design, the general idea of spoon feeding, you know, little tiny bits of information across the game and encouraging kind of a deep interaction with it to learn the plot, with a utter commitment to just tell people how to play the game. No more of this, you can do everything in whatever order you like, and you can go and kill Pinwheel within 30 minutes of starting the game and, you know, bum rush the way. Now you play it our way. And you know what? The way they picked was really cool. It emphasized learning the enemies and interacting with them on a very like fundamental level of, okay, how does this person hit, block now, deflect now, attack now, creating this very, you know, best one-on-one dueling system I've ever experienced in any game, with, you know, like stealth and a grappling hook. Yeah, it's different from what we did before. Fuck you, you're gonna learn how to play it, and you're gonna like it. And you know what I did? Prosthetic tools are very limited and are not going to change your build the way a new pyromancy or miracle is. Fuck you, learn how to use them and kill people with your sword. You're a ninja, do it. It was just a very, you know, it was a defiant subversion of some of their usual tricks while still keeping the ones that a lot of people still like. So it was like taking the best of both worlds. And I love that game for it. I have more fun clearing out bosses in Sekiro than any other FromSoft game because the experience is so finely tuned around that. Like that's the highlight. It's the only FromSoft game with a boss rush mode. That's not I think a accident. Those bosses are the reason to play the game. Yeah.
So I have a question for the audience now, or rather two. One, do you agree that all games need a grappling hook? Argue down below. And two, what is your biggest, in your opinion, the biggest, could be positive or negative, change within a series? And I don't mean something that developers have released, so you can look at like everything Platinum's ever put out. No, like in a series of games where there's just been a major change to the gameplay. What do you think is the most significant?
Yes, and the real-time battle system from Final Fantasy. You know it's true. You know it's true. They messed up as soon as they started doing turn-based. I know you're writing that in the comments.
The original game was turn-based.
I know, when they switched over to the whole like real-time shit.
In 7?
No, like in
so confused.
Like in
9 had turn-based, or 9 had real-time, had active battle. It was still turn-based, but it was like active time.
Like 12 to 13 to 15, when they started shifting in that direction of like, it's more of an action game with soft button commands rather than a full turn-based thing.
Roast Brayden in the comments down below.
Fuck you. I'll get back at each and every one of you.
Brayden will come to your house and yell at you.
I'll beat you in Sekiro 1v1.
Gonna 1v1 him in boss rush.
Yep. Actually, don't do that. I don't want to be shown up by somebody who's actually in the game.
All right. We'll see you later this week in the next one.
Woo woo.
Bye.
Bye.